Hello and welcome to Piano Lessons. Bola, today is Easter Sunday, so may the blessing of Easter be on all of us. I am Sarah Hager and I am making this video especially at the behest of one of my loyal subscribers, Soulful Spinning. And she wrote to me saying that she was studying the Brahms Intermezzo in A major, Opus 118, No.2, and that she loved it and would I please make a video on it. First, I would like to say yes. Who would not love this intermezzo by Brahms? So an intermezzo suggests a piece that's a short piece, independent piece, that's like an interlude. You know, the Romantics loved to write short pieces like prelude or intermezzo and so on, scherzo. Now, when Brahms wrote his last pieces for the piano, he had returned to the piano after decades of not writing for the piano. In those middle-aged years, he had devoted to writing symphonies, which he had finally mastered the art of composing. In fact, when he wrote his first symphony was performed, the Viennese critic wrote, "Hats off, gentlemen, Beethoven's 10th." And rightly so, because Brahms' first symphony was the only one that could possibly stand alongside Beethoven's 9. So now here Brahms was the great symphonist, and then he wrote sonatas for cello and piano, and he wrote chamber music and sextets and quintets and piano concertos, violin concerto, the double concerto. And then finally, when he was in his early 60s, he returned to the piano. We must remember that Brahms died of liver cancer at the age of 63. So this was pretty much at the end of his life. And he looked really much older than his 63 years with his long snow-white beard and his sad eyes. Brahms was always melancholy. So when he sent Opus 117 and 118 to Clara Schumann, who he had loved all his life, he wrote to her saying, "I am sending you Die Wiegenlieder meiner Schmerzen." I don't know how to say this in English except the cradle songs of my sorrows, or more literally, the cradle songs of my wounds. So there is this end of life, end of century feeling, this twilight feeling in the mazurkas from an already melancholy man. But he also added, "I cannot tell you, my dear Clara, how wonderful it feels to return to an instrument that I know inside out." So this is wonderful writing for the piano, but please don't for a moment think that just because this intermezzo is slow, that it is easy. It is replete with difficulties, extreme extensions, huge chords, syncopation, and much more beside. But it is worth all the effort. Now, at my age, 78 going on 79, I have stopped playing works that I once loved playing, but which have now become a bit too challenging. And this is one of them. So I have returned to it at the request of Soulful Spinning. So I will begin by saying that this is an extremely tender work behind the very crusty exterior that Brahms had developed to protect his tender heart, you see this extreme tenderness. In fact, years ago, decades ago, when I was playing at the Chelsea Commons, an Irish pub in Greenwich Village West in New York, you know, one of the patrons came to me and said, would you please play something by Brahms with a somber tenderness? And I loved those words. I think the word somber tenderness best describe much of Brahms' music. Now, so it is very, very tender and loving. Oh, sorry, let me start again, please. And then even more tender. So I hope you will forgive me for that overreach in the 10th, where I went to an 11th. It felt terrible to me, and I know it felt terrible to you too, so I do hope you will forgive me for it. And so this is the tender opening of the first part. But even here, you will notice that, you know, when it starts, it's the same thing again. He says F diminished. So you see that the lamp just went off. Nothing I can do about it. So you see that it's always so subtle and so rich and so varied. Now he goes into a darker mood. Now in this measure, there is hidden counterpoint, because the right hand is doing and the left hand is doing. So when it's played together, it is. Now there is a lot of hidden counterpoint in Brahms, because Brahms, you know, is one of the three great Bs, Bach, Beethoven, Brahms. And he loved counterpoint, but the age of counterpoint was long since over. And so Brahms incorporates subtle, hidden counterpoint into his works. In fact, a few years before returning to the piano, he had, in a letter to Clara Schumann, herself a very great pianist, had written to her saying, "My dear Clara, I am now studying advanced counterpoint. But really, my dear Clara, there is something tragic about knowing more than one needs to know." So he was a compulsive student of counterpoint. But the fruit of that is rich for us. So I'll play that again, this more brooding part. And now this big, strong, after this big, wonderful crescendo, the tenderness returns. Now, this intermezzo is in ternary form. The middle section goes into the relative minor, F sharp minor, and there is syncopation of 2 against 3 between the left hand and the right hand. Now Brahms has written a repeat, and when I repeat this, I'll bring out the counterpoint in the left hand. Now they follow a series of very soft chords which are like a chorale. There's a prayer or a chorale heard from a distance. I've never been able to figure out why he incorporated this here, but here it is. And now, what the earlier F sharp minor melody returns with passion, I mean very, very intensely. The measures I just played were echte Brahms, I mean quintessential Brahms. And I love this so much that I'll play it again. I'll play it again. Then it begins to taper off. And then with this interruption with the diminished seventh, the original tender theme returns. see that wonderful variation in the original theme and this. So here we have, you know, now, a variation on the original beginning. And then when you go, you know, once again, when he does, and then you expect, but no, this time it is instead of going to A, he goes B dominant seventh, you know. And yet now, you see, Brahms is such a great master, and everything comes so naturally and smoothly and effortlessly and easily. And I will end this tutorial by saying that there's essentially a repetition of the first page and ends in the same way. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening. My apologies, I don't think I've played more wrong. I'm certain I've not played so many wrong notes in any other of my 70 plus videos. But as I said, I have returned to this after decades and not practiced enough for this video. And when you don't practice enough, you always get punished. But this is a divine piece and soulful spinning. Thank you for bringing me back to it. When I play it for myself without the camera on, I really love it. And I think when I finish uploading this video, I will play this again for myself, and I will play it much better, and I will play it with great joy. So to all of you piano lovers, if you love Brahms and you want to learn this intermezzo, here it is. Thank you for watching, and please post your comments. Until next time, please keep playing the piano.